In emergency management, the definition of a stakeholder is any person or entity with a vested interest in the survival or recovery of a given community.
This is the Stakeholder Prepping Podcast, where the tactical comes from the practical, and today, you become your own stakeholder.
Here are your hosts, Chris and AC.
Welcome back to Stakeholder Prepping, where you are the stakeholder in your own survival. And episode 80 feels like kind of a good time to pull back the curtain on a side of preparedness that most people, interact with but don't really understand, and how gear is actually gets chosen, tested, trusted before it ever ends up in somebody's grubby little paws.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, especially with this particular company, a lot of people just see this box that does magically show up on the doorstep. And what they don't see is the testing and the arguments and the stories behind things that make the cut and things that don't. And most importantly, I think the failures. So our guest today lives in that world, and I am very excited to welcome Brandon Currin from BattlBox. He is a fixture in the preparedness and outdoor space, and he's the BattlBox, senior minister of propaganda. So I am so excited to have him here, and I look for those videos every month when I wait for my BattlBox. So, Brandon, thanks so much for showing up.
Yeah, man. Appreciate y'all having me. Look forward to chatting with y'all.
And before we get into gear and boxes, who are you outside of BattlBox? What pulled you into the preparedness and outdoor space in the first place? Tell us a little bit about your background and kind of really where you got started, if you don't mind.
Man, I got started as a kid. I grew up in the 80s. you know, we didn't have cell phones. We didn't have, our parents turned us out in the mornings and told us not to come back until the sun come down, kind of deal, right? So, yeah, man, part of it's different times, but just the way I grew up. I grew up in North Carolina. I was born and raised there, and I was from a family that was pretty diverse. Had, probably I'd say 60-70% were in the military at some point in time. All of them were entrepreneurs in the aspects of farmers or mechanics or contractors, or men's men, I like to call it, right? Like guys that got their hands dirty and got out in the heat and sweated for a living. So I was brought up to, if you break it, you can fix it. Work hard for what you got and know how to do without if need be, I guess, right? A lot of deer hunting, a lot of duck hunting, a lot of fishing, being in the outdoors, being comfortable being in the outdoors. I was an only child, so I didn't have brothers and sisters to mess around with and stuff. So, I went out in the woods and hunt and fished and built forts and, I had friends and all, of course, but, we were outside. So I'm just brought up in the outdoors. A lot of memories of being with uncles and my dad going, deer hunting trips and, turkey hunting trips, fishing trips and all the things. So, I just grew up in a time where, we went out and hunted and we killed what we ate, we, yeah, we killed what we ate or we ate what we killed, however you want to put that. And we knew how things worked. We It's different, man, when you think about it now, right? So the question's actually kind of weird to me, like where you got started, and I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I grew up in the 80s, I was born in the late 70s, and technology wasn't that big a thing for the common folk, right? Um, but they did say we put men on the moon in 1969 on July 20th, which I don't 100% believe necessarily. That's a conversation for another day. Um, but yeah, I fell in love with it. I love doing it. And as a young kid up into a teenager, I continued to do those things. Uh, all the way through being an adult, um, I got into videography and filming in the early 2000s, started filming my hunts and things like that. So, I mean, I was really deep in like the hunting side, which kind of, in a lot of ways, transcends into a bunch of things like camping, uh, medical if something happens while you're hunting or, you're off the grid, um, knowing how to navigate, knowing how to communicate, knowing, understanding, ballistics, being around firearms. And so it's kind of a full circle, just being a general outdoorsman in a lot of ways. Um, and then, I guess where I started really noticing, I guess it was natural to me. I didn't know I was prepared or I was prepping or I was that kind of person necessarily. It was just was what it was when I started filming. I actually did a lot of freelance videography work where I would go and film, for a lot of TV shows you see on the Outdoor Channel and Pursuit Channel and things like that, Sportsman's Channel. Um, so then I was like traveling outside of my comfort zone, which was the southeast of the United States, and started going to like Saskatchewan, Canada, and going to Wyoming, and going to New Mexico, Texas, the Adirondacks, places like that I've never been before, and seeing the differences, right? So it's very, your skill level and your understanding of prepping and survival is a completely different animal when you're exposed to different environments. And that's when it started to click for me. I was like, ah, you know, one time we were in northern Saskatchewan, man, and we were like hours away from the last light bulb, or, it's the first time I've been anywhere and I didn't hear an airplane. I didn't hear a dog. I didn't hear a car go down the road. I had moments of complete silence where I would actually flick my ear because my brain was wigging out because I couldn't hear anything, and it's like,
Yeah.
I'm in an area, we were bear hunting. We were up there bear hunting, and I'm like, I'm in an area where, if something goes down, like I'm in a legit area right now. It's not like I'm going to walk a little ways and hit a road. Like we're in the middle of freaking nothing. There's nothing up there. So that's when it kind of came full circle for me. And I was like, this is pretty cool stuff, and got this thinking more about like survival situations other than knowing how to get out of what a lot of people will call a survival situation now, either being lost or getting injured or having a shelter in place for a night in an unfamiliar area. Most places in the United States, for the most part, like you're not far from civilization, you know. You define what far is, but where I was at in Saskatchewan, I was far from civilization, I promise. Oh, it was crazy.
That's definitely a once in a lifetime thing that you don't get a whole lot of chances to do. So that has to
Truly
be
get away from it all.
yeah.
Dude, that was off the grid, like legit off. I mean, it was, if I remember correctly, when we pulled off a paved road, leaving the airport, it was like a 6-hour drive to where we were going, and we pulled off a paved road onto a dirt road. Now, don't get me wrong, I live in an area with my county in Georgia has the most miles of dirt road in the county than there is in the rest of the state of Georgia. So I'm familiar with dirt roads. I live on a dirt road. Um, but we pulled onto a dirt road and we rode that same dirt road straight, never took a turn, a curve, or nothing for like an hour and a half before we ever hit another dirt road, which we went an hour and a half, some odd time down before we ever got to this lodge. And then when we went hunting every day, it was a 3-hour event to get to where we were hunting. Like we were in the middle of nothing, Jack. I've never experienced anything like that. It was
So
crazy.
was that Pass It On Outdoors? Is that kind of where that whole thing started for you?
So that was with Hank Parker. Hank Parker's Flesh and Blood was who I was filming for at that particular time. The Passing It On Outdoors thing started where Uh, yeah, I was a videographer, and a lot of people in that industry, and like when you watch the Sportsman's Channel or Outdoor Channel or whatever, majority of those TV shows, they hire freelance videographers. Very few of them, unless you're like the top 1%, like the Michael Waddell's and the, Lee and Tiffany's and those types of guys. 98% of those shows, they hire freelance videographers. So over time of doing that, you meet a lot of those guys because you might, let's say you were one and they need multiple cameraman for a particular hunt. They might hire you too, and we've never met. Suddenly we met, right? Um, so in doing the freelance stuff, I kept meeting guys that were also videographers that didn't live far from me, and they were in the same state. And obviously, we like to hunt, right? Um, and became friends with them. And we started our own TV show, basically. We were sitting back one day goofing off. We were like, man, what, we clearly know how to film. Why can't we do our own
We can
thing?
do
So we
this.
started it. Yeah. And Bo, let me tell you, that was a whole different animal. Outdoor television is very different than other television type things, as in you've got to buy your own airtime. So you got to sell the sponsorships to pay for the airtime. And you typically do that through, you can get like 8 to 10 commercial slots per show. And you basically handle everything. You got to do the edit. You got to film it, fund it, edit it, yada, 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 pay for the airtime, all the stuff. So it's tough, but we did it for about 6 or 7 years. Started just in the Southeast, on Fox Sports South, I believe it was. And so we were just kind of in the southeastern states for a couple years, and then we branched out into Pursuit Channel towards the end of it. But very, very expensive to do. Like, we didn't make a red pin, not one red cent. Like we owed money every
And
year,
and this was
but it was
the
fun. Yeah.
2010, 2011, is that right? Kinda where that whole thing started? Is that where you
I
sort of
want to say we
got in front of the
started it
camera?
around. Um, so I was doing freelance stuff from like. Now I still did freelance when I did the passing it on stuff, but I want to say we started passing it on in '06, I think, or
Okay.
'07, and went out like in 12 or something like that,
It was that
12
early.
or 13.
It because I've been around the shot community, the shooting, hunting, outdoor tactical community, and it seems like
Mhm.
you've really just been this staple, this icon there. But I don't know when I first like saw you show up in front of the camera. You're kind of like "All I Want for Christmas Is You" by Mariah Carey, where I don't really know where you came from. You just have like kind of always been there, you know. So
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, I've been on. It's weird, man. I get people sometimes like, "Where did I see?" Because I've been on Hank Parker's. So Hank Parker had Hank Parker 3D and Hank Parker Flesh and Blood was two hunting centric shows that they had. I've been seen a couple times on them, so people are like, "I think I saw you." I'm like, "Yeah," and then the passing it on thing. So I've been on the Pursuit Channel. I've been on Outdoor Edge. I can't remember the guy's name, but the guy that there's a show that's sponsored by Outdoor Edge, or used to be. I don't know if it still is or not. I've been on that show a few times. Um, I've had people say, I saw you shooting we were shooting stingrays in Maryland, bow fishing stingrays in Maryland. They're like, I swear I seen you bow fishing before. I was like, yeah, that was on Outdoor Edges TV show. So I've been, I've been in and out of a bunch of stuff. I got my own YouTube channel, which really isn't active right now since, BattlBox has become a thing. But, I kind of got wore out with it, man. It was a lot of work. I was a full-time chiller mechanic, so I had a full-time gig. Um, I got a wife. I had 3 young kids during those times. Um, and I was just work, work, work. I'd fix chillers all day. And if I could get the weekends off, I was off filming somewhere or hunting somewhere. And didn't have it got to a point where I was like, this is costing me money, right, to do this. Um, and I hung it up like in 13 or like late 13, I think. I just quit doing the filming and the outdoor stuff
But it gave you
altogether. And
it gave you plenty of experience for BattlBox, which has obviously
Yeah.
been very successful for you. And for people who don't really know how BattlBox, works behind the scenes, what actually happens between a product existing and it landing in somebody's box on their doorstep?
So, it's pretty crazy actually. So, UPS pukes on my doorstep 2, 3 times a week. Like I get so much stuff. It's maddening. Um, but the way we've been doing it for the last, I'll say 3.5 years maybe, um, is I test everything. And tests can be subjective, right? Like if it's a fire starter, I make sure it works. If it has claims, not everything I go out for a week in the woods and test, right? I'd never finish my job because so many things come in, but I make sure everything does what they claim it does, and that it's durable and can hold up. Um, but then what we do is we basically have a panel in our procurement team, and it's a little bit of everybody, right? Because not everybody in the company, is a hardcore outdoors person, right? I mean, it's just the nature of it. We've got people that do different jobs in the company, so it's a good judge in a way of potential customer base, right? Because everybody's different, everybody's got different opinions. So once a week we get together and I go through Shay, our procurement extraordinaire, I like to call her. Um, she basically makes a list of everything we're going to talk about during that meeting as far as potential products to go in the box. Um, and I basically go through what my findings were, and I basically give them a pitch. And typically they can tell if I'm excited about it or if I'm not excited about it. Um, but it goes through a vote afterwards whether I like the product or not. And if there's 2 no's, it's out. It don't matter if it's the best thing since sliced bread necessarily. Now, that's being a little, you know, facetious, right? But
Sure.
the bottom line is if it gets 2 no votes and for whatever reason, it's out. So it's not just my opinion or not just what I think about a product. Sometimes when we get the no's, I'm like, did I pitch that right? Because I really like that product. Um, but yeah, we don't just put stuff in the box and put stuff in the box. We don't go out and freaking find like liquidation sales and crap like that to put in a box. I mean, that's not something we do. We want to try to kit people out over time with quality gear. um, a lot of new gear we get presented with. A lot of people come to us if they have products they're looking to launch, and we've helped kind of soft launch a lot of products that are now big time products in the world. Um, and it's kind of cool, man. I get to play with a lot of cool stuff,
It sounds that way. That's awesome. So
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that when you said it's other people, not just, the hardcore outdoorsman and gear tester, but a product does also, I guess, have to make sense from a business standpoint. It needs to
Oh,
not
yeah.
lose money and it needs to logistically fit in a box. I imagine there's
Hmm.
all kinds of things that I just didn't think about until right
Yeah.
now.
It's a whole web, right? So obviously the product has to, do what it claims it does and be a solid product, number one, right? Number two, um, they've got to be able to supply us with however many of that particular item we need, right? And that may mean it might take 2 years to get that quantity. Not everybody's got, X amount of stuff sitting in a warehouse somewhere,
Sure.
right?
Right.
Um, it's obviously got to financially make sense. We've got to be able to afford to put it in the box and it fit in the understanding of what we're charging for the box, right? Um, uh, it's got to fit in a box. You know? Like, if it's something that's in a box, this big, and we've got to put, and that's one item out of, 6 to 8 to 10 items that may be in a box. I mean, my God, can we do that? Do we have the manpower to be able to to add that big thing in a box and be able to, do we have the warehouse to be able to hold X amount of big box things? It's
So
the
I've been
whole gamut,
holding
dude.
out on my BattlBox subscription, waiting for that pony. You're telling me it's probably not going to
Yeah,
happen.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That giant gun safe,
Yeah.
like, so yeah, there's tons of avenues, man, to have to think about and
What's
on
the
the
most
business side.
common reason you guys something doesn't make the cut? Is it because it usually just doesn't work, or is it other weird things that we're not thinking about?
Sometimes it boils down to price. You know what I mean? Like we could like, let's say I don't know, let's just for instance, I'm just grab this hard drive right now. Like this thing's cool. It does X, Y, Z. It does exactly what they say. I went outside. I tried to break it. It doesn't break easily. Um, Yada yada yada. Um, all right, it got a yes vote. It goes in now. Shay and the procurement team's negotiating costs and the deliverables and time frame and yada yada yada, and we just can't come to an agreement. You know,
Yeah, sure.
um, so that's a common thing, right? Because I mean, the price of things and stuff, or the price of manufacturing, or the availability of materials, because now they're like, well, we don't have that many, so we're going to have to produce X amount, and we can't get that material no more. So that's more on the business side. And sometimes, I mean, we just get sent stuff that's crap. Like, I'm not going to name any brands or anything. I'm not going to do that. And I'm sure people understand that, like in my videos, I mean, I put out a lot of videos. Like, I'm never going to bash a company, right? I'm just not going to share it. If it didn't work or it's crap, then I'm just not going to share it, right? I'm not a kind of guy that's going to be like this. This is garbage. I'm not that guy. You can go find drama content somewhere else. Like I'm not
Drama
playing in that
content.
space. I'm just going to show you guys what I think is cool and what works. Um, and I don't get paid by any particular company to push anything. I mean, it's genuine. If there's something that I like or whatever, I'm being genuine. I'm not getting paid to do it. I can't be bought. But sometimes stuff's just crap. Like I get stuff sometimes, and it's like, really, like it be a knife. I mean, you can tell, like, the action, if it's a folder or something, it's really sloppy and different things, because a lot of people, I mean, we get a lot of stuff. We get a lot of reputable brand stuff, a lot of new brand stuff that's really good stuff. And we get a lot of stuff that come to me for testing and going through the procurement process. It's like, wow, like I can't believe you guys sent that. Or it's like knockoff stuff that's not built well,
Sure.
you know. Um,
On the opposite side of
so
that, do you ever like think something is really cool? It's gonna be awesome. It goes into the box, and then the audience or the subscribers just it falls flat. They don't like it.
yeah, I mean, um, some that old, I don't know what the saying is, but you can't please everybody kind of thing, right? I mean, and it's true. Like you just can't, right? Um, all I can do is stand on the hill of, I want to supply people with gear that has purpose. Like I'm not just going to send something just for a cool factor. And some people that complain, they're just looking for cool factor stuff. They're not looking back at the big picture. Um, because, like, let's face it, if I send something that's a consumable that's in the hygiene department, right? Hygiene's important in survival, right? You need to be able to keep yourself clean as possible to prevent infection and different things. There's nothing sexy about survival hygiene products. There's nothing cool about that, really, right? Um, so it's an easy like thing to point the finger at, because if you're a customer that you just want the bling, you want the shiny stuff, the stuff that, perception of value is something that's tough to gauge amongst a big body of people. That dude over there, if he gets toothpaste tablets to put in his kit, he's probably like, heck yeah. But that dude over there is like, that's just filler. Uh, So it's the frame of
Interesting.
mind that, you're looking at something, right?
It's
Was
funny
it
you say that because I like my neat freaks I get in the battle box. I use those everywhere. They
Mhm.
go in backpacking, they go in the camper. I mean, I use
Yeah.
hygiene is important. We talk about this all the time. The hygiene and sanitation, man. Those things are going
Yeah.
to kill you. Your black water is going to kill you before
Mhm.
marauders.
wasn't
Ever.
it Book
Yeah.
of Eli that he traded a battery charge for
These little
a
wet
little bit
wipes.
of wet
The-
wipes from
That's
Yeah.
KFC?
right.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's the truth. It's the truth. Some of the main killers in the early days of human civilization was hygiene related.
so
Yeah.
So
on the flip side of that, is there something that you underestimated that turned into a total fan favorite? Was there something
oh
you were like,
yeah,
you know what, they're not going to like it, and it was awesome?
socks, freaking socks. Yes. So, and we've done it twice now, and it was a hit both times, which is amazing. So, um, I think the first pair of socks we ever did was like the merino. Like, don't get me wrong, like I like socks. I like good socks, merino wool socks. But I was very like, should we put that in a box, man? Because we're going to get murdered. Um, and we did a little bit up front, and this has happened before. I'm trying to think of some other products. My mind isn't hit me right now, but your first reaction is like, man, you all sent socks? What the crap? And then like 3, 4, 5 days goes by, a week goes by, we start getting emails, we start getting comments. Man, those are the best damn socks I've ever used in my life, man. That was great, We love those socks, So yeah, but those socks, it was a company called I think it was Wildly Good or Wilder Good, something like that. Um, Make really nice socks, merino wool, uh, and dude, they freaking loved it. They absolutely like loved it. Of course, there were people in the front end that didn't like it, but a lot of them when they finally used the product, they were like, "Holy crap, these are the best freaking socks I've ever used in my life." Because your feet are important, right? So, and that's the thing. Like, I want to equip people over time with the full gamut if I can. And if you don't take care of your feet, you ain't going very far. If anybody ever got problems, blisters, and problems with their
Yeah.
feet, or ever do any rucking or anything like that, or been in the military, they tell you got to take care of your feet. And so it's not a flashy product. It's not a, oh my God, this is the best thing ever product. But it's a product that's got purpose, right? Take care of your feet. So the socks were a hit, and we did socks again a few months ago with Mountain Ops. Mountain Ops had a really good pair of socks that came out, and we were like, you know what? Let's spin the wheel again and see what happens. And people love those socks too. As a matter of fact, no, these ain't. Well, I ain't got them on now. I thought I had them on right now. But yeah, so socks, man, 100%
Socks. That's
was a
crazy.
surprise for me. Yeah, I was
Wh-
like, we're gonna get murdered. This is gonna be horrible.
when you're thinking about the BattlBox audience, because this is interesting that you just said this, that you really can't please everybody, but who is Brandon Currin thinking about when you are curating a box? Are you thinking about the hardcore prepper, or the casual outdoor person, or the bushcrafter, or the you're just the normal preparedness
Yeah.
minded person, or what? Who is in your mind that you're thinking of?
I mean, I try to put them all in there, in the thought process, because at the end of the day, if you put it in a pot and boiled it down, as we say, um, the basics are always a priority with everybody, whether you're new and you don't know crap, or you're seasoned and you're the most prepared guy on the planet, right? So honestly, man, I try to hit hit everybody, but really keeping uh the moderate to new people in mind too, because my goal in the whole thing is to get people in the outdoors. I want people to get out there and experience it. I don't give a crap if it's walking in a state park or a local park, or it's spending a week out in the middle of Saskatchewan, Canada. Like, whatever in between. I don't care what you do. I want you to go out, experience it, and have proper gear, proper understanding, and have faith in your skill uh, and your tools to have a good time. Because if you do that, when the crap hits the spinning blades one day, hopefully you'll have an understanding, right? I mean, there's other factors that are going to come into play, but if you got those basics down and you understand gear, you understand how things work, you have a good skill set, what you got to worry about, you know?
So
So
you mentioned the early, like, whether you're seasoned or whether you're someone who's just starting out, but if you are just starting out, what is that early gear? What's the person that's just starting out? What's the stuff that you recommend people to start? I'm just starting preparing. I'm going to get myself a basic BattlBox subscription. What are the things that I should focus on first?
I mean, I think that when you're getting into any type of prepping in a survival space, you need to do a couple things, a couple different ways. One, you got your bug in and your bug out situation. I think in most circumstances, bugging in is probably the smartest move, especially for a new person, right? Um, so your basic things, you need to have, you know, shelter, you need to have food, you need to have a way to start fire, you need to have water, you need to have communications. Um, so obviously in a bug in situation, unless your house has got holes in it or whatever, I mean technically that's your shelter, right? So but I think just those basics, those core basics that should be in everybody's kit, whether that's bugging in or bugging out would be, you know, those things: shelter, fire, water, food, communications, and understand too. I think a big thing with new people is it takes a community to survive. The lone wolf mentality, like there's only a few people that can pull that off. You got to have a tribe with you, man. So find people in your local area that are into some prepping, whether that's moderate or full blown, and be a part of a tribe because not everybody is great at everything, you
we
know.
just
Um,
talked about that a few episodes ago. You
Ye-
listened to our
oh yeah.
Mythbusters episode.
yeah, that's one of the
Yeah,
biggest myths out there is that lone wolf
yeah,
myth. You're exactly right.
yeah. It's complete horse crap, man. There's very few people that can be Rambo or Jeremiah Johnson out there, man. I mean, it's just,
So,
especially in times like it is now, you know.
from kind of the big picture eagle eye view, um, how would you say the preparedness community has changed or evolved over the last few years? I mean, even in the last 5 years, how are people thinking differently about preparedness and community, like you just described?
Um, I mean, I think we've all seen a little bit of a shift since 2020. Um, when the old pandemic, if you want to call it that, happened. Of people's thought processes on survivability and prepping. I mean, my God, you couldn't find a freaking square of toilet paper for 100 billion miles, right? Like it was crazy. Um, so, I mean, I think people now are a little bit thinking at least in terms of like putting some things away, especially when it comes to consumables. I would hope that they learn something from that. And But yeah, man, I mean, we've seen a bit of a surge since that in our business, and I have to relate it to that freaked a lot of people out. Um, Now, are they going out and doing bushcraft skills and spending the night in the woods when it's below freezing and crap like that? I don't think so. Um, they're more in the the general person out there is more in the bug in, and do I have enough toilet paper? Do I have enough canned goods? Do I have ways to keep warm? Uh, Spectrum of things. So, um, but the community, I mean, I've seen a little. I feel like, and I don't know if it's hard to judge because what you're looking for ends up getting in an algorithm, and is it false that you're getting all this new information or you're getting all this surge of stuff. I don't really know, but I have noticed that there was a pretty good decline in hunting licenses and stuff over the last few years. I think those have kind of stabilized and maybe are starting to come up a little bit, which I have to attest to. People are getting into the outdoors more because you got to do that to hunt and fish. Um, uh, I'm seeing like uh, going to the Georgia bushcraft events over the last several years. That has increasingly got more and more attendees too. Um, uh, Shot show, I'm noticing a lot more prepper minded type materials and products and services out there. Um, so I mean, I think it's growing, but I think it's very social based, social media based.
Yeah.
What we're seeing, which is a good thing, I
Do,
guess.
do you find that this is just my personal opinion that I think there's been a lot of sort of just negative stigmatizing of they call us like survivalists, right? That was like this
Yeah,
negative stigma when really it's not crazy to want to be prepared. And like you talked about with COVID, man, people just wanted to have a sourdough starter. They weren't crazy preppers
yeah,
and things like that.
yeah,
They just noticed how fragile our entire supply chain was. And I saw an article recently that was some news station down there in the South had done a interview with you, and the interview was really good. But the print of that was like, it was like the headline was something like, you know,
yeah. I know you're talking
the
about.
survivalist movement is being propagated by this company in Georgia. And I thought it was crazy because when I was kind of mad and I watched the video and it was very good. You did a great job. But then just the headline just made me think
Yeah,
they're trying to stigmatize this a little bit. Do you still see
yeah.
that?
Some man, yeah, I do, and I mean, um, the whole tinfoil hat, heavy right wing leaning, redneck prepper, mentality is what they're doing it for clicks, right? They're doing
Sure.
because everybody likes a train wreck, right? But the bottom line, I actually did a video a few months ago and published it out there, just talking about prepping in general. I was like, you prep for a job interview. If you didn't, that'd be stupid, right? If you were going to go to a job interview, maybe you should do a little bit of study and understanding and prep, right? You
100%.
know,
SAT
we
prep. There's
yeah, we
entire
we
classes
prep
on it.
for all kinds of stuff, right? We prep for tests, we prep for job interviews, we prep for going out to eat, we prep for all these things. We prep for our retirement, we prep for all sorts of things. It's no different. Like it doesn't mean I'm paranoid that I put back provisions and that I have practice certain skills and I have certain things in place in case I need it. I don't see that as being paranoid at all. I see it as being prepared for that job interview or prepared for the meeting that I have. Or, I mean,
Your car insurance,
yeah, like
seatbelt.
it's ridiculous, that whole tinfoil hat mentality. Now, are there's people out there like that? Absolutely. And are they necessarily wrong? Probably not. Who knows, right? Like, but um, the bottom line is I rather be prepared than not be prepared, and I understand that, and I live in this world that I'm my own first responder, right? I'm my wife's own first responder, my kid's own first responder. So, calling 911 when my wife cuts her freaking hand really bad in the kitchen, um, isn't going to save her. How I react and how I do first responding aid to her to get her to the proper people that can fix it is more important than my phone being charged, right? Um, I need the gear to do that task. I need at least some understanding of how to, you know, give aid. I need some inoculation, if you will, of stress so that I can act under stress because that would be a stressful situation to provide good aid to her and get, proper help, be that an ambulance or me taking her to the hospital, right? So, does that make me paranoid that I practice that stuff, or does it make me smart that I practice that stuff? Right.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
So
um,
with that, have you ever had a piece of gear fail in a real world scenario, whether you have tested it for BattlBox or not, something that
or
you've
not. Yeah. So
purchased?
anything in general.
Yeah. Have you ever
Um,
had it fail like in a real world scenario?
I had a tree stand fail one time when I was deer hunting. That almost turned bad.
Oof.
Yeah. But luckily I had on a piece of gear that didn't fail, which was a safety harness that kept me from freaking falling to my potential death. Um, wow, that's a good question. I mean, of course I've had things fail, like nothing failed to the extent where it was like life threatening because of it. Um, I mean, and that tree stand fell on me. I've had some firearms fail on me, mostly in hunting situation. Um, I've had, trying to think,
You've been pretty darn
anything that
lucky
put,
for all the gear you test.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm,
yeah,
I'm pretty
um,
surprised. That's awesome. It's good if you can't think about
yeah.
it.
I mean, I've had like things fail, like a knife fail or something like that, but that was, I'm the two is one, one is none guy. So I mean, I've always
Sure.
got another knife on me, but I haven't had anything necessarily happen that like completely swayed a situation other than my tree stand uh, messing up on me one time when I was deer hunting.
And I'm sure
And
you've
luckily I had
tested
that.
things for BattlBox to the point of failure, but that was intentional.
Correct. So a lot of times, like when I test something, like say I got a fixed blade bushcraft knife, I'll take it out there and I'll beat the loving crap out of it. I'll try to do the stupid stuff with it without injuring myself. Because if it can hold up to the stupid stuff, it should hold up to the normal use of it, right? Like,
Hopefully.
I mean, I tried batoning some freaking, Fox Knives has a little knife that's kind of like, a lot of people call them the Swiss Army type knives. It's got the multiple tools that fold out of it. They got one called the Vulpus. It's about this big, and like an idiot, I knew it wasn't going to do it right, but I was like, I wonder if I can baton some firewood with this, right? Like if it could survive me beating the crap out of a little knife like that, then surely it's going to do everything a little folding knife like that's designed to do. Obviously, I broke it trying to baton some really hard wood like an idiot, but it was fun, right? Like what? Why not? Um, but yeah, I mean, I test stuff out to the extent of doing the dumb stuff, stobbing the knife into something and seeing if you could bend the tip, or throwing it, see if something comes off or breaks, see if the hardware holds up, see if you know, the, I'll take them apart. Like if they say if it's a full tang knife or something like that, like, and let's say it's got an molded handle on it. Well, I'll cut that thing off to be sure it is truly a full tang knife, and they're not saying it is, and it actually isn't. Or take the scales off to actually physically look at the tang of the knife to see, you know, I mean, a lot of them take some metal out, for weight purposes or whatever, but how much did they take out? Is it going to compromise the strength of the tang of the knife? Um, I'm a mechanic by trade, man. I like to see how things work, and I like to I like to break stuff. I broke a lot of stuff as a mechanic. So,
I imagine you just
um,
have a ton of gear, probably, right? You get gear for free, you work for BattlBox, all that kind of stuff. Do you have a favorite? Is there a favorite piece of gear? Is there a knife or an EDC tool or something that you're putting your hands on every single day that you've gotten from one of these suppliers?
yeah, there's about 4 or 5 knife companies that we've put in their products in the box that I've become just completely infatuated with. One of which is Tops Knives. Um,
Sure.
what a great company, dude, and great knives. So I've got a knife. I don't have it on right now, but it's a neck knife. It's called their Mini Scandi 2.5, or they call it the MSK 2.5. It's a neck knife, um, little Scandinavian grind fixed blade.
I've seen it
That
on your neck in a couple of videos. Yeah.
bro, that blade has been through it, man. I have freaking tortured the crap out of that thing, and it just keeps going, and I love it to death. Um, Fox knives. I love Fox knife stuff.
They're an Italian brand, aren't they? Fox?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
they're made in
Yeah.
Italy. Those cats know how to sharpen a knife. Out of the box, Fox knives have some of the sharpest freaking knives I have ever taken, just straight out of the box, just ridiculously sharp. They know how to sharpen a blade for sure. But they make great knives. They're great people. Um, Things that haven't been in BattlBox, I'm a big fan of LT Wright knives. I love their stuff. Um, uh, some gear I typically always have with me is from Tough Possum Gear. Um, they make really good bushcraft like bags and things like that. Uh, PNW Bushcraft out in the Pacific Northwest. They make a lot of really nice bushcraft type gear, soft goods. Um, but yeah, that tops knife is probably the one. Like if you said it was one thing that I have within arm's reach of me at all times, it's typically that tops knife.
It's funny you say that. I think it's the Tom Brown Tracker is a Tops, right?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my go-to backpacking. That is my go-to knife is that Tom Brown Tracker, and I think that is a Tops brand. It's
Yep.
unstoppable. It's an
Man,
unstoppable
those
knife.
guys have so many freaking knife designs. It'll make your head spin. It's crazy. And he's got books, and his Leo, the owner and the main designer at Tops, he's got books stacked in his office of designs that they ain't even made. Like it's nuts how many designs they have. And but yeah, the mini Scandi, and then the Tom Brown trackers, a big a big knife of theirs. And then they got one called the Brothers of Bushcraft Fieldcraft knife. It's a full size bushcraft Scandi grind. It's got a bow drill divot in the scales. Um, that was probably my first love of a fixed blade, full size fixed blade knife, was the Brothers of Bushcraft from Tops.
It's funny
Um,
we say things like that, like a bow drill spot. Like there's not a lot of very innovative stuff you can do with knives because they've been around for thousands of years. But then every once in a while, somebody pulls something off like that, and you're like, "This is pretty cool."
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
wild.
The bow drill divot's cool
That's
for
cool.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, can someone have too many knives?
Well, of course not. Don't ask my wife that question. Man,
So-
I got a lot of knives, bro. Woo, boy. I don't need all the ones I got. Maybe not. I don't know. But I can't get rid of them.
So, if you were to fast forward 5 years, what does the future of preparedness look like? Is it smarter tech, simpler tools, back to basics? Where do you see the preparedness realm going in 5 years?
That's a good question. So, that's the one thing about preparedness that I think is interesting outside of any other genre, I guess you can think about, is at no point do the basics not matter,
Right. I
right?
love that. I love that.
Nothing's going to replace the basics. And if you want to like put your tinfoil hat on, right? If everything went to crap, like truly apocalyptic, the zombies are coming, right? The basics is going to be the only thing that you could rely on, right? So clearly, there's going to be advancements in tech of some capacity, right? But that's the cool thing about survival is you could be the guy with the 70-liter pack completely packed full. God help you if you can freaking ruck with that. That's another misconception in the world of survival. have the big backpack with the kitchen sink in it. Well, you're not going very far. So, but, you could be that guy, or you could be the loincloth wearing, guy with just some stone tools and a haversack. Right.
Why not both?
Yeah, why not both? Uh, at the end of the day, the basics matter for both, regardless, especially when the guy with the 70-liter pack depletes or the stuff he has quits working, if it's electronic or what, Um, so uh, that's a really good question. 5 years from now, obviously tech's going to advance. There's going to be things that could be used in that. But sharp, pokey things that make fire, and something to put a shelter over yourself, and skills is always going to prevail. Uh, in my opinion, even in the next 5 years. Um, that is an interesting question, though. I
Is
don't know
there
if that
any
necessarily
like
answers it, but
survival or outdoor tech that you have received either, in BattlBox or just on your own, that you were surprised that you started relying on a piece of tech? Like, you had that hard drive. I think that's kind of cool. I never thought about that, but that's actually
yeah,
a preparedness piece of gear. But is there any like tech that you've said, man, that belongs in my
yeah.
bug out bag or my bug in bag?
Yeah, I can say so. Like one thing that's changed dramatically, I think, over the last 5 years. So let's just assume in the next 5 years those things may evolve as much as they have. Would be the solar side of things, solar
Sure.
panels and power banks. They've gotten a lot more durable. Power banks capacities have gone up while their physical size has gone down. Solar panels, like we just sent one from Dark Energy in a box here recently. Like, I literally tried to kill that solar panel. I ran it over with my truck. I threw it up against trees. I stomped on it. I threw it in the mud. I beat the living snot out of that solar panel, and it still worked. And it's somewhat flexible. Um, it's called the Spectra. Was it the Spectra 8-watt solar panel, and they make a 18-watt version as well. I beat the freaking crap out of that thing, dude. Like, outside of like chopping it up with a freaking axe or shooting it with a gun, like, it's pretty freaking indestructible, right? Same thing with their power bank. I've thrown their power bank in the pond. I've thrown it in mud. I've run over it with my truck. I've thrown it, you know, I've, threw it down on concrete. I've done all sorts of stuff to it, and it freaking holds up. It still works. Um, so I would say that's something that I'm very, very much so start carrying with me now, especially that little solar panel. Because in the past, those things, one, were heavy, they were bigger, they weren't flexible. You had to be mindful of it. If you did have one that you could put in a pack, you needed to make sure that there wasn't anything that had any pressure points to possibly mess up a sail or something like that on those panels.
Right.
Um, but this panel, whatever, I forget the technology they have in it, but the freaking thing's flexible. The sails are flexible. Like, you can literally like
Yeah.
torque it and bend it, so you don't have to worry about it being in a pack and something heavy pushing on it wrong to mess up a. And even if you did mess up a sail, it don't kill the whole panel. It's just that one sail is going to be dead. That's a new thing, with a lot of solar technology now. Used to, if if a sail was messed up or if some shade got over it, it affected the whole panel. Well, now their technology is, if a sail gets messed up, it doesn't affect the whole rest of the panel
Right. That's
too
that.
negatively,
What
right?
do they call it? It's the multicrystalline versus monocrystalline tech,
Something like
right?
that,
Yeah.
yeah.
So every cell
Yeah.
is sort of independent. You're right. That low voltage solar tech. You're right. That I didn't even think about that.
Mhm.
That has come so far that there's
Yeah.
no reason to have a dead piece of gear out in the bush ever again, because it's just so easy
Right.
to carry charging stations with you.
They're going to have
Mhm.
70-liter packs and loincloths made out of solar material.
Right? Yeah. Yeah.
That
Solar
might be the next
socks.
thing. The
Solar
solar
socks.
backpack. The
Solar
whole
socks.
backpack's a big solar panel.
Patent pending.
Yeah.
I love that. The
So-
solar
Solar
loincloth.
sock. Solar loincloth. Yeah. Might be on. Let me buy that URL right now before somebody gets it.
The BattlBox exclusive.
Yeah.
So, Brandon, if you had to sum up BattlBox's philosophy in one sentence, not marketing, not branding, just the real core of BattlBox's philosophy, what would you say it is?
To inspire people to get in the outdoors and do more, and have fun doing it. Uh, and that's kind of the thing, man. We don't and build a community. That's one thing about. I think that's especially I think there's many things that separate us from other companies like us. But one huge thing is the community side of it. We really want to push community. And we've got a huge community through our business. And it's all about just inspiring people to get out and learn the skills. That's one thing as well. Um, you could have that thing, but it's just an inanimate object. You got to know what to do with it and why you're doing it with it, right? Um,
You got to
so
practice your preps.
yeah, we want to prepare people mentally for it as well, and understand. Like I try to do a lot of videos on how to how to do this, how to use this. Because somebody with a simple kit with just a tarp and some matches can build multiple shelters and survive for a long time if he knows how to do it, right? Um, So I say that's it, man. Just want to inspire people to get in the outdoors and have fun doing it and learn skills uh, in case you need them in the future. And I think that's something that a lot of people, even in the prepper space or the survival space, say in social media, like I don't preach the doom and gloom. I don't say you need to have this for when the zombies are coming or when freaking so and so invades the United States or whatever. Have fun doing this stuff. Go out and have fun doing it. Have fun learning. Take your kids. They can learn it too, right? That's one of the big disconnects we've had since I was a child. And I've been guilty of it. Raising kids is, we get comfortable in whatever's going on during this era, right? And we're not teaching the younger generations the things we were taught as efficiently as our parents taught us and so forth. Because
Right.
back then it was survival, right? Like true survival. They didn't have food if they didn't go hunt. They didn't have food if they didn't have shelter. They didn't have things if they couldn't fix their own roofs, and they could most people didn't have the money to hire somebody to come fix their home. They did it themselves, and that over time has dwindled away as being taught. So inspiration and community and having fun with it gets you that opportunity to learn and enjoy yourself and figure things out by screwing things up and figuring out what works for you and what doesn't work for you. So if the storm does come, you've got a little bit of understanding and you're comfortable in that situation, right? Um, and go out when you have the opportunity and get comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? Go out when it's going to be 20 degrees outside and camp with basic gear and understand what that feels like and how you can adapt. And wow, I did that wrong. I wish I'd have thought of this, or I wish I'd have brought that, and then go do it again, and it's training. But you're having fun training,
I like it.
And make it fun. If you make it all doom and gloom, blah, 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 number one, you're not going to go out and practice it because that's miserable.
That's
Who wants
right.
to do that? You can learn a lot on a simple camping trip. You just got
100%.
to do it.
I will tell you about that real quick. That it was a BattlBox product. It was a simple camping trip. Well, not simple, but the definition of an adventure is a tragedy that almost happened, right? And I was backpacking, and it was grueling, and it was further than I thought it was to a lake where we were camping, which is where the fresh water was, out of water. Very heavy pack because I like to camp like a king. So I'm that idiot with the 70-liter pack going 8 miles straight uphill. and I got it in BattlBox. It was one of those little AquaGuard little orange goo things, which I had
Yeah.
tried before, and I was like, these are absolutely terrible, and I'm not going to use one of these. And I'm telling you, man, it may have saved my life, because
Yeah.
when you're thirsty, things taste really good. And that was just a wild experience for me, that I was like, I don't even know I was taking it, just because I didn't really like it. But I'm telling you that it probably kept me
Yeah.
from sleeping outside or leaving my pack somewhere and going to get fresh water. I mean, it was one of those things that I thought,
Absolutely.
man, had Brandon not sent me this, I don't know where I'd be today.
Yeah. I mean,
And it-
and that's the thing. Not everything is sexy. Not
Right.
everything is cool. Not everything's shiny. You got the shiny package and does the thing for you. And that's, if that's your vision of survival gear, I got news for you, brother. You might not be happy at the end of the day sometimes.
Right.
The knives are cool, and the physical gear, the stoves and the physical gear and the thing. But, if you want to get down to the brass tacks of things, we want to over time equip you with gear that's going to, be something in all aspects of survivability. And let's face it, food and hygiene isn't necessarily, sexy when it comes to good stuff that could save your life.
100%.
Um, and you just gotta need it. You gotta have it, know when you need it, and know how to use it.
And
uh,
if you, as a listener, want Brandon to send you cool stuff that could save your life, like it did AC, use the code stakeholder15 and you actually get 15% off your first order, which is
Yeah,
pretty
we
all
awesome.
of that.
dropping our code with BattlBox today. I love that. So yeah, it's funny. A very good friend of mine told me, he goes, when you made it as a podcaster, when you start selling subscription boxes or something like that. And I thought, this is it. Here we are. We made it, because we have a BattlBox code. So I think, it's stakeholder 15. Is that right, Chris?
Yep, stakeholder
So
15, all compressed, no
yeah,
spaces.
all one word. So if anybody's still listening and you want to get 15% off of your first BattlBox, just to try it. If you're somebody who's never tried it before, if you're somebody who tried it in the past and thought, you know what, I wasn't impressed, I'm telling you, in the last couple of years, I will personally say, that, and I pay for this. We're not getting this stuff for free. That I think the gear that comes every month, I'm truly impressed with. I mean, you guys do an excellent job of truly curating gear for people, not just in the preparedness world, but like you said, the outdoorsmen, the
Yeah,
bushcrafters, whatever. But all of it, I've been very impressed. So yeah, thank you so much for that. And thank
appreciate
you
that.
well, here it is. We're an hour in already. So thank you so much for coming on and chatting with us. This has been awesome.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I can talk people's ear off, man. The hour goes by quick with my mouth running, I can promise you. So yeah, it was a good time, man. Got some good questions. Hey, and yeah, we can do it again. I'm sure. I'm sure I got plenty of more stories I could tell for
I
sure.
love that.
Any questions for us before we sign off?
Uh, what y'all got in the green room for snacks? I'm getting kind of hungry. Oh,
I got freeze-dried strawberries, freeze-dried bananas, cashews, and Slim Jims.
Some Vode's
Slim
preparedness. If you haven't, Brandon, I know you're probably a connoisseur of the fine survival 25-year freeze-dried food, but if you haven't checked Vode's out yet, very impressed with them.
Vode's.
We had them on recently, and Vode's does an amazing job of making a home cooked meal in a little stupid bag. Yeah, boiling water too.
Yeah.
I'm pretty impressed. So,
Honestly, man, I haven't tried, I've tried a lot over the years, man, and I don't think I've tried them, so I might have to.
Yeah.
I have to check them out.
there might be
AC's
some on
green
the way
room is
to
a little fancier than
Yeah,
mine.
there might be some on the way to your house right now, Brandon. I don't know.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
might be.
All right. So-
Never know. UPS will throw up on my driveway in the morning. I promise you.
Well-
Every Tuesday, man.
Thank you for joining us, and join us next week. We are going to go in a completely different direction like always, but until then, remember, you are your own stakeholder. We'll see you then.